Hi, I'm Maggie. Thank you for stopping by Crafts the Charm today. You are most welcome here. Candles are wonderful decor pieces. They're inexpensive, they come in a variety of colors, and they give a room a wonderful ambiance. These decorating ideas that I have for you today are easy to do using a technique that you may not have seen before with rope called whipping. And there's a lot of variety. So you don't have to do what I do with my candles, but I try to give you a lot of ideas for something that you might like to do. The theme for these candles today is coastal and patriotic. Let's go have some fun. I generally keep my decor pretty simple. I use these 3 candlesticks a lot on my dining room table. And for the summer one year, I just took some of this white nautical rope and I just made little rings for the candles. So one thing we're going to do is look at some variations of how to do that. This is a battery operated candle and I think it's from the Dollar Tree. They certainly sell them if this isn't one of them. And this white nautical rope, sometimes you can get it at the Dollar Tree. I'm not seeing it there right now, but you can buy that pretty much anywhere. So I just measured that so that it fits exactly around the candle. But it is stretchy too, so these rings that I'm making for this little candle veil actually fit around wider candles as well. You just don't want it to be too big. And I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape. You could also use duct tape to hold the ends together. It would be really hard to just whip it together, which is what this technique is called, if we didn't have it already held together with masking tape. Maybe it's possible, I don't know. Now in the past I had whipped with white, sort of like this Just Cotton, but I don't think it was the Just Cotton. Just Cotton also comes in those sort of variegated colors. And I thought it would be interesting to look at just some different materials and see how it looks to whip around the white with different colors, like this is a jute twine. And then I have this beautiful just yarn. The color is denim, and that is also from the Dollar Tree. Now this is the technique. You make a loop, and you want that tail of the loop to be long enough to extend beyond the whipped portion. And then you hold that loop against the rope, and technically I think you're supposed to whip in the opposite direction that the rope is coiled. It looks like I'm whipping in the same direction here. So if you're doing this to keep the end of a rope from fraying, do it in the opposite direction. Now once you've got about 4 coils, then you're going to pull, see on the loop, to pull it tight. And then you're going to keep going. I think I did, I don't know, about 11 here, I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's supposed to be, I guess, at least twice as wide as the width of the rope. Once you've got it as wide as you like, pull the end through the loop, and now you're going to pull on the opposite end, the beginning end, and you're going to pull that rope right under until it's about in the middle of that whipping, and then you can pull both ends a little bit tight. Now ours is decorative. We've got the tape basically holding it together, and we are going to be whipping over the tape. Right here I'm just putting some different colors on so that you can see what the different colors look like, so you could pick whatever sort of color you want for your whipping. But if you're doing this on the end of a rope to prevent the rope from fraying, then you want to pull it quite tight to hold that rope together. And here are basically the 4 examples: that denim blue yarn, and then the jute. That I don't think is the Just Cotton. This is the Just Cotton in the green and white. Now for the one that I had taped together, I decided that I would use that denim color, and that I would put, because it's small, only 3, I decided to put 3 whipping decorations on it. You want to just cut those ends off, and you want to cut them as close as you can. Even pull the whipping back a little bit and cut under. Now, for me, I like pretty simple decor. That's really enough. It's subtle, but I like it. So I did 2 in the blue, and then I did 1 with the jute, and I did 4 for that one. Just mixing it up a little bit. So what else can we do with that to dress it up even more? So this is a sort of a burlap ribbon, and that is also from the Dollar Tree, but you can probably get that anywhere. And what I'm going to do is cut the burlap ribbon so that it's exactly the size of the candle. And again, I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape. Now, I think this masking tape, this isn't very me. Normally I would sew it together, just do a little stitch down the back. But the masking tape is actually really nice. You can't see it. The reason I wouldn't normally use tape is because I'm not sure how long the tape will last. So you can use masking tape like I'm doing here, and I'm just trimming that to make it straight. Or you could put in a few little stitches so that it's more secure. But we're just going to tape it in the back and then trim the tape so you really can't see the tape at all. And this will be able to slide on and off the candle. And just use the bottom of the candle when you're wrapping it around to keep it straight. Now once we have that, again, that's almost enough for me because I do like things simple. But there are lots of options, of course, for what you could put on that to add a little interest. So Dollar Tree has these great die cuts, and you'll see there's a fish and there's a dolphin. If you know somebody who loves dolphins, they'd probably love that. There's a whale, there's a penguin, there are stars, and I'm not sure what else they might have now. I think they have more nautical ones now. I didn't look. But you can hot glue that, and if you hot glue, it might stick a little bit to the candle, but you'll be able to slide it off as long as I guess you don't go crazy with the hot glue. So it'll just stick to the burlap. And another option is shells. And Dollar Tree sells shells, but that is not where these came from. I don't know where these shells came from. I've had them a long time. Some of them I actually found on the beach. That, I love, that little tiny starfish. That's a mussel shell. I do not think that looks very good. And I love this red scallop shell, but it's too big. But you could put 1 or more shells all the way around, and I think it could look really nice. They just need to be small enough. This is a tiny candle, so if you used a larger candle, you could use larger shells. I like that white shell too. I think that looks nice. My favorite look though is a starfish. This is one of those starfish decorations from the Dollar Tree, but that is far too large. It's also somewhat heavy. So I'm going to make my own starfish and make them smaller, and I'm going to make them out of these scouring pads, which, believe it or not, I bought a while ago intending to make starfish. In the past I've made them from these regular sponges. And you want to cut the sponges in half so that they're thinner. The advantage to the regular sponges is that you can sculpt them a little bit. These scouring pads, though, they're quite thin. And I thought I would try a few different colors because we're going to paint it. Obviously that is sponge blue and we don't want that. So I tried the blue, a yellow, and a pink. It takes a lot of paint to paint a sponge. It's going to take several coats. And I did have a little bit of difficulty because I decided to just sort of freehand this starfish, and I've never been good at freehanding stars or starfish. So after a few tries, I get a starfish and then paint it with just some apple barrel white acrylic paint. And with our starfish painted, we're just going to use a little bit of hot glue, and this is low temperature hot glue. And that's the yellow one and the blue one. And I had thought that the pink maybe would be a better tone, probably does look better, but I end up just hot gluing the blue one on there. Now this is a real candle, not a battery operated candle, and it actually did not start that color. It was another blue color which I hated, and I just painted that with acrylic paint and then went over it with Mod Podge. Now the starfish and the sand dollars, they come in these white plastic bags, which I just love. The bags themselves look very nautical to me. So I thought, well, let's try sort of wrapping the candle in that plastic bag. And then I have some pearl beads from the Dollar Tree, and they don't have holes in them, so I can't string them, but I thought I could put them around the bottom of the candle, so they're sort of resting on the candle holder, but they're trapped in the bag, so they're safe, and just put them around the bottom, and then slide the starfish in. And I think that's a very elegant look. I really like it. Maybe it would be nice for maybe a bridal shower, nautical bridal shower. But if you feel like it needs something more at the top, I came up with a few options. I have different width of silver ribbons here. I just have that white just cotton, and off-white ribbon. I couldn't find a white ribbon. And so you, of course, would probably have different things in your home, or you might find different things to buy if you think it needs a ribbon around the top. And then what I did was, because it's a net, a mesh, it's very easy to stitch through it. So I just stitched the just cotton through it to sort of cinch it at the top. And so that's one look. Now in another video, we made these blue, green, and white beads from a coastal tablecloth, and I thought they would make a nice decoration for the base of the candle. These are the wider beads that we made, and you could string them on thread. I just thought stringing them on this florist wire would be better. It would give me a nice stiff ring of these. So I just string them on this. I laid them around the bottom of the candle to figure out how many I needed, and then I just string them on this floral wire and then trim the ends and bend it down and slide it under the beads. And that might be enough, or you might want to do different beads on top and underneath or in between. But I thought I would make something sort of like a tassel, but a tassel that goes around a candle using this denim colored just yarn from the Dollar Tree. So I just wrapped that around until it seemed to be a thickness that I liked. And then I thought about using a different color to tie the, I'm just going to tie it and make, I'm calling it a tassel sort of, but I'm going to tie it in 4 places. And I thought about using a different color. I think I would need a brighter white and not that just cotton stuff that is the only white that I really have around here. So I ended up just using the blue denim, and I just slid it under in 4 quadrants and tied it tight like you do when you're making a tassel, and I just used a little square knot there. And one thing I'll say though is that you want to be careful. You might even consider laying the yarn pieces down ahead of time, because you can slide them around. So I say cut the 4 pieces, lay them down, then wrap the yarn around and then slide them into place, because there is a wax coating on battery operated candle, and I scraped a little bit of that off. I was trying to be careful, but even trying to be careful, I ended up scraping a little bit of that off. So I would just cut the 4 pieces of yarn, lay them down, then wrap around, then put them in place, and then tie the knots. Now for a patriotic or Independence Day candle. Again, I'm going to use those die cuts from the Dollar Tree in the star shape, and I also have this wonderful ribbon, and I do think I got that at Christmas time at the Dollar Tree. But I saw it, I didn't know what I might do with it, but I loved it. It's a red and white gingham, sort of an off-white. So I'm going to do the same thing with that, trim it, and it is wired, so I do use wire cutters to trim the wire part and then scissors to cut the fabric part. So the tape and trim it, and I'm going to do the same with that as I did with the burlap. And then put the two ropes that have the blue whipping around them, one at the bottom and one at the top of the ribbon. Now I thought it also looked nice just with the rope at the bottom and not also at the top, but just trying to do something a little bit different. And then I think I put a couple of stars on this. Yeah, you could do, I would say, 1 to 4 stars for a candle this size. You could also paint the stars. I liked this natural wood, but I guess it depends on your candle holder and your other decor. I think a little tin star would look wonderful. You could paint the stars white or silver. And here they are on my dining room table, and that's, of course, the patriotic candle, the little bit of patriotic decor around it. Here's the nautical candle with the beads. And just the tan and white look, which I like. And here's the little bit fancier pearl look with the just cotton and without. I hope you enjoyed today's candle craft, and I hope you joined in. I'd love to hear in the comments about any variations that you made on these candles. And also, as always, if you have any suggestions for me, I'd love to learn them. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up. And if you like this sort of content, please consider subscribing to Crafts the Charm. Take care.